This is the S&P 500 SPDR ETF 1 month overview for June 2024. It's currently May 18th, 2024, 12:49 a.m. Eastern Time. SPY at the time of this reading is $529.45, that's the USD. And the shuffle video for the June reading was created on May 2nd, 2024 at 9:28 p.m. Eastern Time. That's the video playing in the lower left corner. The overall theme and behavior for June, we have Prince of Discs often indicates sideways rotation. In the theme position, often indicates some sort of like flat behavior. It is crossed though with the Knight of Cups, which indicates a notable decline that ends with a fast sudden move higher on a multi-day scale. There's also a cross-reading congruency that's pretty important there. The June high card of the 2024 reading is the theme card here, the Prince of Discs. So something to be aware of. And then also the behavior around the highest high or highs for the month of June, we have an attempt to establish support with sideways rotation. Behavior around the lowest low for the month of June. The peace card indicates a flattening out near the low. Sometimes that's like a lull in volume. Also a cross-reading correlation there. Now I'm going to get into the timing of the highest highs and the lowest lows for the month of June, as well as the chart behavior by the day. Before I get into that and the trades that I see, I just want to make sure that everybody's aware. The whole purpose of the channel is to transmute some of the competitive energy of the stock market into goodwill. We do that by following the rule of karma for the channel. You go to the resources tab of our website, Tarot for Traders, and 5% of the profits from every profitable trade utilizing this information should be donated forward to one of these charities, or pick a charity of your choosing as long as you're paying 5% forward, and then 5% should be sent back to the channel through one of these links. If you're international, you can use Wise or you can use YouTube tips, and that leaves you at 90%. Make sure to spend that 90% out of love. As long as you follow those rules, you follow the rule of karma for the channel, the universe considers you an angel investor. It's going to send it back to you tenfold for following through. Blessings to all my angel investors. Let's get back into it. On the 3rd, it appears that we likely opened lower, but there's a lot of correlation here to the indolence card and the last card from the May reading. So we have the 7 of Cups here, and then the indolence card is the preview card. When we look at the card for the 3rd, it has a lot of correlation to the indolence card, similar thematically speaking to the 7 of Cups as well. So overall what we should see is a near overbought crest that we sell off from through multiple support levels. That takes place, I think that crest probably forms after a decline that ends with a fast sudden move higher, and that fast sudden move higher probably takes us into the crest that we then sell off from into a lower open on the 4th. Sideways fluctuating decline on the 4th that precedes a rally. And what's important to notate here is that somewhere right here around the 3rd, 4th is where we have a lowest low for the month of June. On the 5th, likely a higher open, and there's a prominent peak there on a 1 month scale that will stand out. We declined pretty notably on the 5th to revisit a support level that we recently met on a multi-day scale. On the 6th, we have a period of volatility, and that period of volatility ends with a fast sudden move higher, likely opening higher on the 6th as well. On the 7th, likely opening higher, multiple failed attempts to break through key resistance there on the 7th. And there's also a trade opportunity on both on the 4th, the 6th, and the 7th. We'll talk about all of that in more detail in the paid version. Midday on the 7th, it looks like, first off, it looks like there's a prominent trough on the 7th. Might even be another lowest low, it's possible, but it doesn't last long. There's a big move about midday to the upside on the 7th as well. And then on the 10th, a higher open, a failed attempt to break through key resistance, followed by a decline through key support. There's a good chance that this is the highest high thus far here on the 10th as well. We open lower on the 11th, and then there's bumping along resistance sideways, maybe breaking through, bumping along resistance some more. The majority of the behavior on the 11th should be bumping along resistance sideways. There's a notable trade opportunity at the beginning of the day on the 10th, and towards the end of the day on the 11th at a prominent peak. On the 12th, we open lower. There's a pop and a drop there on the 12th. A lower open on the 13th, and a rally along a diagonal trend line that will end with a fast sudden move higher, and then a breakdown through that diagonal trend line with increasing volatility on the way down. On the 14th, we have a higher open. There's a prominent peak on a multi-day scale there that'll stand out, and there's an intentional fake out or shakeout of some kind there on the 14th, some sort of intentional misdirection utilizing technical analysis most likely. So you want to be careful there on the 14th not to do anything impulsive. Now, before we go any further, let's take a look and see how we did for April. All right, so we have a highest high the day before the month of April starts, which is interesting. And when you look back at the month, at what happened in March, the highest day of March and the highest day of April, but like literally the peak of this rally before this turnaround was this star card here on the day before the 1st. So that's pretty relevant. Looks like we came back to it on the 4th. I have a prominent peak there on the 4th. I didn't specify a highest high, but I do have a prominent peak on a 1 month scale there, and that stood out pretty well. And I have a lowest low there on the 5th as well, and it looks like it ended up being, it's a lowest low thus far, I should say, on the 5th. It looks like it ended up being on the 4th, so pretty close, just a little bit off there. And then I had possibility of a highest high here around the 8th night, and then possibility again around the 11th. It was hard to determine if they were going to be prominent peaks or highest highs. What happens is, here on the 9th, we had a prominent peak. It didn't quite end up being a highest high. It was pretty close relative to the rest of the month. It was pretty close. And then we had a little bit of a dip, prominent trough on the 10th. They have that predicted, and then back to another prominent peak there on the 11th. And that again didn't quite come up to highest highs, but it was pretty close. And then we have this big decline that takes place starting on the 12th. It took us to a lowest low thus far, and you can see how that took place, lowest low thus far, and then another lowest low on the 15th with an extremely big move to the downside, all predicted there. We had a bit of a breakout, didn't last there on the 16th, and then that was followed by more significant move to the downside. That was predicted as well. And then we had the possibility of a lowest low here on the 18th. Looks like it ended up being here on the 19th, the death card. And then we were expecting another lowest low around the 26th or the 29th, and it looks like it didn't quite come in right there. We had something here on the 25th that was really close to a lowest low, and then at the very end of the month we had what came in almost as close as well. So a little bit off on those lowest lows, but pretty darn close. I mean, pretty pretty close. And considering that this April reading was done all the way back in February 2nd, 2024 at 3:49 p.m. Eastern time, that's saying something about the power of SO meta analysis. As far as trades, we would have opened up a short position the day before, or I should say the last day of March, and probably add to it here in the morning on the 1st. That would have ended up being pretty solid. We could have closed out of it on the 2nd, or we could have held it until the 4th, 5th, and probably would have ended up either getting scared out here or adding to the short, and hopefully people would have added to the short following along with what the reading was saying, and then they would have been able to sell for a nice profit right there. Even if they waited until the following day, they would have left a little profit on the table, but it still would have been a pretty solid trade. On the 8th, we have opportunity to open up a short position. Probably would have added to it on the 9th with the intent to close it on the 12th. Another really solid trade. And probably the reason why I wasn't advised to close out of it here on the 15th is because look how much higher we opened on the 15th. That probably, if people who held on to the short over the weekend probably got scared out up here. I mean, it would have been a good shot of getting scared out up here. So this is really a solid guidance trade. Would have wanted to open up another, I probably would open up another short position here with the intent to close it on, I would have advised to close it on the 23rd or the 26th or 29th. If you held it until the 23rd, you could have made some money depending on where you purchased it. So that's still a viable trade. 26th would have been a fail. 29th would have been a fail. So that was kind of a mixed result trade. If you got out as advised to always get out at the first opportunity, not to wait for later opportunities unless you have serious risk tolerance, it's always better to take your profit early and just reposition yourself. So people would have made money if they did that. If they held on to it, they wouldn't have made money. But still, a ton of solid trades in there, aside from maybe one there at the very end of the month, depending on how well you traded it or not. Well, all of that was in the full prediction for April that came out. If you have early access on our website, which you get here under our services, SO Meta Post, right here at the top, early access to our post. This is the earliest you can get access to any of our public posts that come out on YouTube. Generally, they're like a month in advance. We've been really behind as of lately, but come June 1st, we'll be back on track, and early access will be about a month ahead of time. Great way to intro to supporting the channel. Or you can also sign up for the free newsletter if you want to get it free. The earliest you can get it for free is to sign up for the free newsletter, and you sign up for the newsletter here on our homepage. Right here, sign up for our free newsletter and receive S&P 500 monthly. It comes out in the newsletter. It comes out the first week. Otherwise, if you don't have the free newsletter or you're not early access, then you got to wait for the S&P 500 to come out at the 21st of the month. Much appreciation to everybody supporting the channel. Let's get back into it. On the 17th, we opened lower. There's a important resistance level on a multi-day scale that's highlighted there on the 17th, and we've met it many times before and failed to break through. On the 18th, we have a higher open, sideways rotation throughout the day that ends with a fast sudden move higher. On the 20th, we open higher. I'm advised to be cautious there on the 20th. There's also a trade opportunity on the 17th, a trade opportunity on the 19th. I'm going to get into all the trades, guys, here at the end, when we finish off this stuff at the end of this video. So with the prudence card on the 20th, that's indicating to be very cautious. Usually you'll see some sort of whipsaw action or some sort of tricky chart behavior that would, it would entice you to do the wrong thing. On the 21st, we open lower. There's an important support level on a multi-day scale. Actually, there's an important support level on a 1-year chart scale highlighted here on the 21st. Looks like we have a prominent peak towards the end of the day. And that unicursal there on the 21st could be indicating a significant drop off of this, what's most likely a highest high, at least thus far for the month of June here on the 21st. And that unicursal is indicating a possibility of a really sharp drop on a multi-day, on a 1-month chart scale. A really sharp drop on a one-day chart scale. And more likely in this specific case, I think it's marking off an important price level where we establish support. We probably see a higher price level in the not too distant future. It's possible even at the end, in the beginning of the following month, it is possible, and I have to look at that reading in more detail to do that. And if that's the case and we do go higher, then this unicursal is that support level that we can rely on, at least temporarily. We should mark off as a support, as a price level that we will break down through it in the next significant decline or market correction. On the 24th, we open lower. There's erratic behavior there on the 24th. And we declined to and through support to meet another support, bounce along that support sideways for a bit before breaking down through more supports. We should also revisit a crest in there that was recently a past opportunity on a multi-day scale. On the 25th, we open lower. There is a notable rally early in the day, and that's also a cross-reading congruency. When we look at the dailies, there's a gold bull at the very beginning of the day on the 25th out of a trough, so that's important to point out. But there's an opportunity here on the 25th with a rally that offers opportunity to open up a short position or close long positions. This highest high that we have here on the 26th, it could be that it's on the 25th because of this Princess of Wands. It could be on the 26th, it could be on the 25th, it could be on both days. It's somewhere right there around the 25th, 26th. And we should have equal amounts of bulls and bear inflow and outflow. The change chart indicates that we probably see the high on both the 25th, 26th. Most likely, but it's equal amounts of bulls and bear inflow and outflow, generally moving kind of sideways. On the 27th, a decline that increases with momentum moving forward in time. We open lower on the 27th, and then on the 28th, we open higher, and it's a notable decline to and through support to meet another support before rotating sideways along that support. The sneak preview for the following month is this full card. The sneak preview for this following month of July is this full card indicating a auspicious moment or a really improbable opportunity on a 1-year chart scale taking place there. It also is most likely indicating that we decline through this resistance level from whatever opportunity that is in July. We probably decline to and through that unicursal price level that we marked off on the 21st. So highest high around the 21st, highest high around the 25th, 26th. Hard to say if it's going to be higher, same. And then we have a lowest low here around the 3rd, 4th, possibly again around the 7th. What I would want to do, the best trade here, guys, is to open up a long position in the midst of this Empress card, right? When we look at the 1 year, we've got the Empress card here at the beginning. There's a significant low on a 1 year chart scale taking place here around the cusp. So I want to get into a long position here with the Emperor. I'd probably add to it if there's opportunity here on the 7th. There's several places where you could close out of that. All right, out of that long position. Here on the 12th, yeah, I would probably close out of it there on the 12th unless you're looking for like a multi-month kind of swing trade. And then I would open up the long position here on the 3rd, 4th, and then again on the 7th if there's opportunity there with the intent to hold it into this full card. If I'm not looking to do that, I'm looking for a shorter term swing trade, then I'd want to exit out of it here on the cusp of the 11th, 12th. On the 17th, with this pop and drop that we have taking place on the 17th, when we pop up to key resistance, I would probably open up a short position there. You could close that short position end of day on the 18th. You could open up a short position here on the 25th in the midst of that rally, maybe add to it if there's opportunity on the 26th, but you're looking to close that short position on the 28th after we decline to and through support, get another support and rotate sideways along that support. And that's SPY for June 2024. Let me know what you think by hitting that like button. As always, make sure to follow that rule of karma, my friends. Blessings to all my angel investors. I'll see you guys on the next one.